Seattle Seahawks Today is presented by the Fetch Rewards app. Download it for free at chatsports.com/fetch and use promo code Seahawks for 3,000 bonus points on the app. Lets you scan any receipt from any store or restaurant that you can then redeem for points and get gift cards in the process. Chatsports.com/fetch. We thank Fetch Rewards for sponsoring today's show. And we're going to begin with one you won't like, a storyline you won't like, but one that I think I'll do justice for. Seahawks should shop Russell Wilson. All right, here we go again. Let's end a man's whole career here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Here's what Cody Benjamin, CBS Sports, wrote. No disrespect intended to Cody, but I think he's wrong here. The biggest problem for most teams in the NFL, they don't have a truly elite QB. The Seahawks are not one of those teams, but unlike the others in their privileged company, the Chiefs, Packers, Bills, they are not on the verge of a title run. In fact, aside from Wilson's two favorite receivers, they're quite barren. Are they, though? In other words, it's not hard to see why now is the right time to auction the best asset on the block. Retaining Russ would certainly not be a bad outcome. An elite QB always gives you a chance. But this is about resetting while the opportunity is right. It's about taking the whole picture into account. Even coming off a down year that included surgery, is Wilson's value going to be higher? He's 33 with a sterling Pro Bowl resume and has been pretty clearly been open to a move for at least a year. It's the trade haul that could generate the next Super Bowl team that should motivate the Seahawks. If they can get multiple first-rounders, a pick or two, perhaps even a young QB with Wilson similarities, they'd be primed to rebuild. Yes, simply acquire a new Russell Wilson. It's the boat argument. All those picks in Jalen Hurts, they could be anything. They could even be Russell Wilson. Shut up, Cody. Come on. You do not trade away a franchise QB. You don't do it. It's not a good idea. Because you know what's a lot more likely to happen than Jalen Hurts or a first-round pick in a bad QB class being the next Russell Wilson? Those guys not being good. And now, instead of strengthening your window that you have right now, what ends up happening is, well, now you've embraced a multi-year rebuild, and you never come close to finding another championship run. You have a franchise QB. It's a hell of a lot easier to rebuild the rest of your team than it is to just simply find the new franchise guy. That's not how things work. Seattle got lucky with Russ, and they're glad that they did. Don't trade him away. Now, if you agree with me that trading Russell Wilson makes no sense, then like the video. In fact, if you get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage of it. While the ad plays, head down there and like the video right now. Now, I disagree with Cody saying that the Seahawks are far away from being a true contender. They've got all the cap space that they could really want, especially relative to other major NFL teams. Yes, they missed the playoffs for the first time in how many years now? They've consistently been a contender with Russell Wilson. Yes, you want more playoff success. And sure, this could very well go the way of Drew Brees, of Big Ben with the Saints and Steelers. Peyton Manning minus the 1 year where he was washed up in Denver and in Indy. It is very tough to win a title. But if we're talking about maximizing your window in the next 5 years, that is Russell Wilson. There's no doubt about that in my mind whatsoever. I don't think you should ever trade away a top 5, top 10 QB, top whatever you want to rank him, unless that QB doesn't want to be there anymore and you've got no alternative options. You have a franchise guy. You can fix your offensive line. You can fix your ground game. You can adjust your defense with all of the cap space that you have, as opposed to trading away Russell Wilson and now searching for the most important position in the NFL. Actively shopping Russ, unless he wants out, it's a terrible idea as far as I'm concerned for Seattle. What's not a bad idea is downloading the Fetch Rewards app. It's free at chatsports.com/fetch. As you'll see here momentarily, the app is actually quite easy to use. Simply pull it up and scan any receipt from any store or restaurant. That could be Starbucks, Target, Walmart, a fast food place, a local ma and pa diner, whatever it is. Scan the receipt as long as it is to get all the information that the app needs. And then Fetch Rewards will give you points no matter what you bought. you'll get points for it. And as you rack up those points, you can then redeem them for gift cards to Amazon, Walmart, Target, tons of options store and restaurant-wise. So go get started with 3,000 bonus points by using promo code Seahawks at chatsports.com/fetch. We'll put the link and the promo code for you guys in both the comment section and in the description of today's video. Let's move on now to some more positive stories for Seattle. How about a Darrell Taylor breakout year? I am intrigued by this idea for Seattle. Here's what Jake Heaps, the 710 ESPN Seattle analyst, that's the word I'm looking for there, mentioned about Darrell Taylor. Quote, "What I witnessed from Taylor this year was incredibly exciting. He got better as the season went on. Darrell Taylor has a lot of twitch to his game. He is explosive off the line of scrimmage. He is somebody that can bend and get around the tackle and have that athletic ability to get to the QB. I want to see more of Darrell Taylor. Now, not sure I buy the got better as the year went on because there was the injury that I think kind of did impact Taylor at least a little bit, but I do agree with the overall message that Heaps had. There's a lot of promise here for Darrell Taylor. The production was actually pretty solid. He had 6.5 sacks this year in a season that he should have been able to produce more down the stretch. Now, he did finish with plenty of tackles as the year went on, 21 tackles the last 10 games. I think the volume of snaps should go up as next year begins for Darrell Taylor. The Seahawks have made a point, the new DC Clinner, to kind of mention the whole, hey, we want to have an impact pass rusher in that new 3-4 true base style, which they ran briefly and ran moments in last year as the Pete Carroll defensive style has changed. It's no longer your Legion of Boom cover 3. It's a very different style at this point. Having Taylor be that impact edge rusher would be a huge boon for Seattle. And I do want to see if he can be that guy. Now, look, if you don't believe in Benson Mayowa, Kerry Hyder, Dunlap, Alton Robinson, okay, you can add more talent there. Son Reddick. But I do think, given that he was a premium draft pick just a couple years ago, and there's only played 1 year because of injury, you got to let Darrell Taylor start for you in year 3 and give him a chance to be the guy at pass rusher. So with that in mind, if we're all on board of the Darrell Taylor breakout season, how many sacks do you think Taylor will have this year? Make your predictions for me right now in the comments section. Let's talk franchise tagging Rashaad Penny. Okay, I don't love this idea, but we'll break it down. CBS Sports. I don't mean to be mean to CBS Sports, but I just think they're wrong today. Jeff Kerr had franchise tag candidates for each team. Not Quandre Diggs, not Gerald Everett, not Dwayne Brown. Instead, Rashaad Penny. With the franchise tag, by the way, being $9.57 million this upcoming year. And look, the end to this past year, after I have just absolutely hated on Penny for a very long time here, showed the flashes of what the Seahawks thought he was going to be. But $9.57 million on a franchise tag. We'll come back to this here in a little bit. Now, if you want news, rumors, draft, trades, free agency, franchise tag coverage as well, hit that big red button and subscribe for everything going on around the Seattle Seahawks. We here want to keep it like it is. We're not going to sell you a bunch of, they're going to be awesome no matter what. Well, no, we'll be critical. We'll call out the Seahawks and ourselves and other outlets as well. So with that in mind, make sure you're subscribed as we turn our attention back now to Rashaad Penny. Here's what Kerr wrote. Seattle's offense averaged 31.2 points per game and went 3-3 in Penny's 6 starts, giving Russell Wilson immense help in the backfield down the stretch. With Chris Carson and his injury history, the Seahawks need Penny's explosiveness to take the pressure off of Wilson. Paying Penny $9.57 million and trying to work out a short-term deal is worth the tag, especially when the Seahawks have over $36 million in cap space. Now, the last 5 games for Rashaad Penny, you can put this up against any 5-game stretch among NFL backs in recent years, and it's right there with it. He was incredible down the stretch. The problem is that even in the midst of the breakout year, Penny's 5 games were almost as productive as his previous 35. The production for Penny has not been consistent. And as I've said before, I'm down to bring back Penny. My problem is with the cost involved of paying Rashaad Penny. $9.57 million for 1 year. I'm going to give my thoughts and explanation, but I want to hear from you first. Would you give that much for Penny to return on a 1-year deal? Y for yes or N for no? It's way too much for Rashaad Penny. If you can make that a 2-year deal, I got interest at that point. To put it in perspective, the $9.57 million would make Penny the one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL. It's not quite the same high-end level, but only on base salary, which is what that is, it'd actually be third in 2022 for base salary ahead of Christian McCaffrey. No NFL team is going to pay Rashaad Penny $9.5 million per year. When you franchise tag him, that's what his agent's going to ask for. He's going to say, yeah, I'll take the 9.57 for 1 year. You want a bigger deal? You got to pay me around that figure. I'm not franchise tagging Penny at that cost. That is an exorbitant figure that doesn't make sense and is not worth as good as Penny was down the final couple games. He's not worth that much money over 1 year. Like, that's more than Chris Carson got. Why would you pay Penny so much for 1 year play? It's almost double what Carson got. I'm out at that cost. Let's talk draft now. Bleacher Report went through and named every team's dream draft target in 2022, and their pick for Seattle was Jermaine Johnson, the big-time Senior Bowl riser. Had a breakout year in 2021, last chance you, by the way, and spent his first 2 years with Georgia, then had a huge year for Florida State. My issue here is purely from a talent perspective. Yeah, I'm in. Johnson's going to be a top 30, top 25 guy for me. So if he's there, yeah, let's ride. Like, the value makes sense there. I don't know if I love Johnson for what Seattle wants to do on defense. I think it would make more sense for them to find a more explosive pass rushing option. I think Johnson's value is going to come from being a very reliable 3-down player. My comp is more DeMarcus Lawrence for him in terms of play style. He's an awesome run defender, but he's not a twitched-up, bendy edge guy, which I think is what Seattle's looking for. I don't think he's going to be a 15-sack player in the NFL. I think he'll be a good edge, too. And look, if he's there, I'm not going to complain about the pick. But remember what we talked about earlier. If you're giving Darrell Taylor a bigger role, I would argue the pick is probably better spent elsewhere. It would allow you to invest into maybe your offensive line. I think there are several O-linemen that would be the dream draft target. And given I think they go in similar ranges, although it is a bit unlikely, I think Johnson goes round 1. I think Tyler Linderbaum is your true, real dream draft pick, even though he's not going to be there in round 2 for Seattle. But what do you guys think? Drop a name for me in the comment section. Who is your dream Seahawks draft target this year?